there's something that happens when you surround yourself with these loud, bright, flashing things, and you go and choose the one you're going to spend a little bit of time with.
Oh, I have to interact with this thing. It is, it's 6.5 feet tall. It takes up a ton of physical space. It's really flashy. There's tons of lights popping out of it. Joystick and button, it's like immediately understood what you're supposed to do with it.
The artwork on the cabinets, it's the way the games were designed, it's the environment that they're in. There's something else that happens at an arcade.
And I don't think you can replicate that. It's a lot different than scrolling through your list of downloaded content on your console at home.
You're performing in your bedroom, or you're performing in your living room. It's like, no, go to the arcade, step up, put on a little performance, show people what you got, get that extra little rush of adrenaline or your heart pumping.
You have to be in that spectacle. You have to be in that darkly lit room, in that wash of sound and light.
My first arcade game I played was Asteroids. I had to be 4 years old, and I remember it very vividly. And it was so sharp and crisp, and it's, when you look at it now, there's just lines, but it seemed so different. It made me want to explore what other ones were out there.
Games from the 80s and 90s are still fun to play. Why did all that go away? Why did the look, the feel, the experience of playing those games stop being created? There's something still valid about how those games play, because even kids still play them. If anybody says, well, the arcade is dead, it's just like, it's not because kids killed it.
Sky Cursor.
Sky Cursor's a brand new arcade game.
It's designed to be as fun as possible, kind of just everything turned to 11 the entire time, just crazy over the top. Everything's really splattery, lots of violence, but fun violence.
When you do a special move, enemies turn into food. So they turn into pizza and hot dogs and sushi rolls. And that is routinely a laugh out loud moment.
Overwhelmingly, when people play it, they are blown away. They're like, it's nostalgic. I thought I had missed this back in the 90s, but I had never seen it before.
I mean, it's like classic stuff that humans just care about. Like, oh, I love the dog, because there's a dog in our game.
Yeah, my dog, Sammy. I was like, well, what if you had a co-pilot? And he kind of gave you some pointers and kind of cheered you on when you did good stuff. And it was like, so I want the co-pilot to be like the friendliest, nicest, most like welcoming thing. I was like, oh, it'll be Sammy. Sammy's like the nicest person I know,
Remember, bullets can be deflected with your katana.
Basically, he's like a little Ninja Turtle in the game, He's just your homie and he's there to help you out.
From the beginning, it's always just been arcade only. There's so many games coming out right now for iPhone, for PlayStation, for Xbox, for PC. How do you stand out?
I've seen a lot of good games go into those marketplaces and not pick up any traction.
Our big idea is we'll make a game for the arcade first and really just grab that arcade audience. And then when it's time, in the future, when we decide to make a game for iOS or Android, we'll already have this really awesome grassroots base that cares about the game.
Response to Sky Cursor has been extremely positive. Seeing them make an arcade exclusive game is just incredible. It's exactly what the industry needed. The outset wasn't to become like the largest arcade in the world. Initially, the plan was just maybe 50 machines. And that quickly changed. I have a huge collecting problem that I've had since childhood. Currently we have 578 games. Obtaining new games has been one of the key elements to making us successful. We add one new game every week. Finding the games that we're looking for at this point, we're mostly interested in just outrageously rare, obscure stuff and prototype stuff. There's stories behind all of them. Literally, you can just go up and down the aisles and see, like, this was the first time this was done, and this was the first time that was done. Like, we love taking people on tours around the place because there's so much that even the hardcore players don't understand what some of these games are. When we were opening, the industry people were saying a place like this could never work as a business. Not unless we had a lot of redemption games and just stuff that was tested and more popular. And to me, this was exactly what was missing. We drew the hardcore players, which they're willing to travel, and we get people in literally from all over the world. But as the hardcore players heard about it, the hype just kind of built to it, which is what now draws casual players in from also all over the world. We had a couple hitchhike in from Oregon. We have people that come here on their honeymoon. It's really the full spectrum. Parents showing their kids through elderly people that are coming here to see this stuff. You have to make sure people don't become complacent to what this place does. Like, this place is putting out stuff that people have either never seen or stuff they haven't seen in 30 years. We do it so regularly that you got to make sure that everybody still gets it as to how special it is.
Well, the whole reason we're here is because we want to create the example for revitalizing the business model of arcade gaming.
The draw would be for a developer to come and drop their game on the airframe, which is our hardware solution for getting our game in the arcade today. It's modern PC components and has a couple of conversion pieces that allow it to connect to basically any arcade cabinet.
So like the whole idea of there being this massive barrier to entry to making an arcade game is gone.
In addition to the hardware and kind of how we've set everything up, we have basically an upgrade server that would be similar to App Store on your iPhone, where you can basically just get updates for that game or patches for that game. In my mind, this is what can move the arcade forward.
Doc Mack and the Galloping Ghost team, they've been working on a 2D fighter.
Our game that we're putting out, Dark Presence, it's all to try to rejuvenate this industry. It doesn't play like Street Fighter, it doesn't play like Mortal Kombat, it's its own very unique thing. It's an immensely large project, like on every level. Like our backgrounds, we've tied it to a GPS so that it looks at the location that the game is in. If it's raining outside, it's raining in the game. If it's snowing outside, it's snowing in the game. We've really wanted to make a game that shattered what could be done on console.
It's super important to me to go to arcades that have Sky Cursor and watch people play, and also go to these conventions and watch people play, because watching someone play and get it and like laugh and have fun, I think especially watching like a little kid who has no business caring about whether it's an arcade or not, it is like the rocket fuel. And that happens enough now to where we're pretty motivated, I think, just by watching people enjoy the game. Like, okay, now I'm gonna go back and do a ton more work because that's really cool.
Mission complete.
The arcade culture is changing in a lot of different ways. For us, we're looking at it from the player's standpoint, from the developer's standpoint, the arcade owner's standpoint, and really trying to have an impact on that to keep going forward in a positive manner. We've helped 14 arcades open their doors, and we're currently helping 22 more. Unfortunately, as the arcades are slowly coming back and they can use new titles, the top companies are shying away. So it's imperative that Sky Cursor and Dark Presence and games show that, hey, you can put out an arcade game and it can have an impact and people can really get behind it and get into it.